can't. I can't.
Well, what's wrong? Is everything okay?
Ew. Imagine having to kiss that.
The Kissing Booth franchise has always been a perfect example of what people love to call guilty pleasure movies. From 2018 to 2021, the three films may not have won over critics, and even some viewers weren't entirely impressed, but somehow they captured a huge audience who just couldn't get enough. So when the topic of the Kissing Booth 4 comes up, it might seem surprising to some, but for fans, the idea is definitely exciting. After all, who wouldn't want to revisit Elle, Lee, and Noah and see where their lives have gone? For everyone who's a little fuzzy on the storyline, the movies revolve around Elle Evans, played by Joey King, and her best friend Lee, played by Joel Courtney. Things get complicated when Elle falls for Lee's older brother Noah, played by Jacob Elordi. That love triangle is at the heart of the series, and it's really what kept audiences hooked across all three films. By the third movie, Elle had made a big decision to follow her own path, independent of Lee and Noah, which left fans both satisfied and curious, and the movie gave us a 6 years later scene, teasing what could be next for Elle and Noah, leaving the future of their relationship wide open to the imagination. So naturally, people have been wondering, is Netflix planning the Kissing Booth 4? As of now, the streamer hasn't officially announced any plans for a fourth film. The original author of the series, Beth Reekles, hasn't written a fourth book either. Reekles has been moving on from young adult novels to more mature works in recent years, so the story, at least in book form, seems complete. Even so, that doesn't mean the franchise is entirely closed. Reekles herself admitted that finishing the third book and watching the final movie was an emotional experience. She shared that she sobbed her heart out because it felt like the end of an era. 10 years of Elle, Lee, and Noah had come to a close, and she was truly grieving that chapter of their lives. That's a testament of how much these characters have meant to fans, and it also shows the emotional weight the story carries, something Netflix could easily tap into if they wanted to continue the journey. Joey King, who has grown up alongside Elle on screen, has also expressed how emotional it was to say goodbye to the character. She told the Nerds of Color that playing Elle through so many important moments in her own life made the farewell really meaningful. And even though she's busy with multiple projects under her Netflix contract, there's still the possibility for her to return as Elle if Netflix decides to greenlight a fourth movie. In fact, when talking about the third film, King mentioned in an interview with ET that Elle has a lot of figuring out to do, and in the end, she gives herself even more figuring out to do, which is exactly the kind of open-ended storyline that could be explored in a sequel. The bigger question, though, is Jacob Elordi's involvement. Elordi, who played Noah, has since moved on to critically acclaimed projects like Euphoria and other high-profile films, and he made it clear in previous interviews that he considers The Kissing Booth 3 to be the last kiss. While he's grateful for the opportunities the franchise gave him, he's clearly focused on different directions in his career. That doesn't mean the franchise can't continue without him. It just means the story might evolve differently if Noah isn't back in the mix. Interestingly, even though Elordi has called the films ridiculous and described them as a trap, the sentiment isn't shared by everyone involved. Joey King, for example, responded to Elordi's comments in an interview with Variety, suggesting she doesn't see the franchise that way and that it's unfortunate anyone would feel negatively about these movies. The point here is that there's a lot of positive energy from those who love the films, which is important because Netflix tends to listen closely to fan interest when deciding on sequels. So what could the Kissing Booth 4 actually look like if it happens? Well, one of the most satisfying aspects of the previous movies was Elle's choice to forge her own path rather than simply picking between Lee and Noah. In the third movie, she ends up attending the University of Southern California to study video game design, which was exciting for viewers who liked seeing her independence and ambition take center stage. The story also gave a glimpse of the friends reuniting at the Los Angeles Fair 6 years later, where Elle and Noah meet again after a long gap. The movie ends with them on the road riding their motorcycles, leaving their future together open-ended. That open-endedness is perfect material for a sequel because it creates room for Elle and Noah to explore their relationship further, or even for Elle to navigate new romantic and personal challenges. A potential fourth film could pick up right after that motorcycle ride, showing Elle and Noah gaining new perspectives on life and love. There's also room to expand the world around them. For example, Lee and Rachel's wedding could serve as a setting where family dynamics and romantic drama play out. New characters could be introduced, maybe Marco or Chloe, adding layers of conflict or comedic moments. These additions would make the sequel feel fresh while still maintaining the charm and spirit of the original trilogy. Even if Jacob Elordi doesn't return, the story doesn't have to stall. Elle could explore new relationships, potentially bringing Marco, played by Taylor Zakhar Perez, more into the spotlight, while still maintaining her strong friendship with Lee. This could open up entirely new storylines and interactions, giving fans more of what they love about Elle, her growth, her humor, and her romantic adventures. While Noah's absence would certainly be felt, the franchise has enough flexibility to reinvent itself while staying true to the heart of Elle's journey. Interestingly, Elordi himself once suggested a creative idea for a fourth film. He imagined a story that spans decades, where the characters are in a nursing home and recounting their lives from their 20s to 90s. While that concept is very different from the high school and college adventures we know, it shows that even those who have moved on from the franchise see possibilities for the characters' lives continuing in imaginative ways. Fans have expressed some mixed feelings about the time jump in the third film, especially since the series has always been a classic teen romantic comedy. Some wanted a more traditional happy ever after ending, but that openness is actually a strength when it comes to a potential sequel. It gives Netflix and the creative team freedom to explore new plot lines, romantic entanglements, and personal growth moments for Elle, Lee, and even Noah if he returns. So even though there's no official announcement yet, the foundation is there for a fourth installment. The characters' futures are still open, Joey King is still working closely with Netflix, and the fanbase remains enthusiastic. All of this suggests that if the right story is pitched, The Kissing Booth 4 could definitely become a reality. It could delve deeper into Elle's life after college, explore friendships, romantic growth, and even career ambitions, all while keeping the same lighthearted and fun tone that made the first 3 films so beloved. And really, the potential is huge. Elle's independence and personal growth could take center stage, offering new types of storytelling that go beyond the high school romance formula. Fans could finally get the next chapter they've been hoping for, whether that involves navigating life with Noah, exploring a new relationship, or even focusing on her friendships and professional aspirations. There's a bunch of ways to approach the story, which makes the idea of a fourth movie incredibly exciting. Joey King's continued involvement is also a major positive. She's not only capable of carrying the role, but has matured along with Elle, meaning her performance could bring even more depth and nuance to the character. Meanwhile, Netflix's track record of revisiting popular properties when there's enough fan demand gives hope that the sequel isn't just wishful thinking. The open-ended elements from the third movie, the motorcycle ride, Elle's career choices, and her personal growth are all perfect hooks to build a compelling fourth story. In addition, the series has always thrived on the chemistry between its main characters, particularly Elle and Lee and Elle and Noah. That dynamic could be explored in interesting new ways, whether through romantic tension, friendship challenges, or comedic mishaps. Even if Noah isn't involved, the core of the franchise, Elle's journey, her relationships, and her personal growth remain strong enough to carry a sequel forward. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay in the loop, and if you want, you can share your thoughts about this video in the comments.